On our wedding anniversary, my wife changed her Messenger profile name to Feral Hog. I thought it was a joke, so I posted about it on Facebook. My friends all commented with laughing emojis, telling me I was in the doghouse. Only my best friend, Leo, sent me a private message. Hey, your wife left her phone at my place yesterday. I changed her name as a prank. Don't take it seriously. I stared at the words, the blood slowly turning to ice in my veins. He had my wife's password. The light from the screen illuminated the text from Leo. My finger hovered over the screen for a long moment before I finally locked it and tossed the phone to the other end of the couch. I've been married to Chloe for 3 years, and I've known Leo for 10. One was the woman I shared my bed with, the other was the brother I'd trust with my life. And now, that brother was telling me he knew my wife's phone password. I got up, pulled a bottle of whiskey from the liquor cabinet, and poured a glass, no ice. The harsh liquid burned my throat, but couldn't quell the cold dread churning in my gut. The sound of a key turning in the lock came from the front door. Chloe was home. "Honey, I'm back," she called out, her voice sweet and playful, just like always. I turned, leaning against the cabinet as I watched her take off her shoes. She was wearing a new dress, a short one that made her legs look long and pale. "Working late?" I asked, looking down at my own feet. "Team dinner. For the new project launch." We were celebrating. She walked over to hug me, then wrinkled her nose when she smelled the alcohol on my breath. "Drinking again? How many times have I told you it's bad for you?" Her tone was laced with a familiar, feigned complaint. I looked her straight in the eye. "It's nothing, just felt like a drink." I forced a smile. "By the way, what's with your profile name?" "Feral Hog?" "That's unique." Chloe's expression froze for a split second. It was so fast, it was almost imperceptible. "Oh, you saw that." She slapped her forehead dramatically. "I lost a game with my coworkers. It was a dare. They made me change it. I'll change it back in a couple of days." A perfect, flawless excuse. If I hadn't gotten that text from Leo. "Really? I thought maybe Leo changed it for you." I picked up my glass, swirling the amber liquid, but my eyes were locked on her. "No way." She practically shrieked, her reaction explosive. "What are you talking about? How would he even get into my phone?" I watched her face flush with agitation, and I smiled. "Just a joke. Why are you so worked up?" I tilted my head back and drained the glass. "I'm tired. Going to take a shower." That night, we slept in separate rooms. I used the excuse that I'd had too much to drink and didn't want to disturb her. Lying in the guest room bed, I stared at the ceiling, sleepless all night. The next morning, I got up and made breakfast like usual. When Chloe came out of the master bedroom, she wouldn't meet my eyes. "Last night, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to snap at you," she said quietly. "It's fine." I slid a fried egg onto her plate. "I know you've been under a lot of pressure at work." We ate in a heavy, oppressive silence. My phone rang. It was Leo. I put him on speaker. "Jake, you never texted back last night. Everything okay? You didn't get in a fight with your wife, did you?" "It was just a joke." His voice was loud and cheerful, full of laughter. Across the table, Chloe's hand, holding her fork, tightened. "It's fine." Chloe knew it was a joke. I replied casually. "Hey, speaking of which, our 3rd anniversary is in a few days. I'm planning a surprise for her. Can you help me brainstorm?" "Damn, you actually remembered your anniversary?" "Attaboy." Leo cheered from the other end. "Lay it on me. Your brother's got your back. I want to take her to that spa resort up on Blackwood Mountain. We went there once when we first started dating. She's been talking about it ever since." As I said the words, Blackwood Mountain, the color drained from Chloe's face. "Great idea. That place is awesome. I haven't been up there in forever," Leo said, his voice full of excitement. Then it settled. "Are you free this afternoon? We can meet up and go over the details." "Sure." Usual spot. After hanging up, I said to Chloe, "I'm meeting Leo to talk about something. Might be home late tonight." She kept her head down, listlessly cutting her egg. She mumbled a quiet "okay." I watched her, a cold smile playing on my lips. That afternoon, I met Leo at the lounge where we always hung out. He was the same as ever, carefree and casual, and he greeted me with a punch to the shoulder. "Look at you, getting all romantic." I smiled and pushed the menu toward him. "What are you having?" "The usual," he said. We ordered a pot of green tea and started planning the anniversary surprise. I went all out, describing a fantasy of rose-petal baths, candlelight dinners, and a private movie screening. Leo's eyes lit up. He was more excited than I was. "Damn, brother, you're pulling out all the stops." "Chloe's going to cry her eyes out," he said, clapping me on the shoulder. "I just want to make her happy," I said, looking him dead in the eye. "After all, she's my wife." Leo's gaze flickered away for a second. Right. He picked up his teacup and took a large gulp as if to hide something. "By the way," I said, changing the subject, "you mentioned your company was short on the final payment for that project. I've got some cash freed up recently, so I can lend it to you. I was the one who had fronted him the money to start his company. Over the years, whenever he ran into trouble, I'd help him out without a second thought. He looked stunned for a moment, then his face filled with gratitude. Jake, you're a lifesaver, man. My actual brother. We're brothers. Don't mention it. I refilled his tea. But business is business. You'll have to sign a promissory note. Let's just write down the amount as $5 million. The final payment he actually needed was only a little over $2 million. The smile on Leo's face froze. $5 million? Jake, I don't need that much. I know, I said, watching him calmly. The rest is interest, or consider it an investment. I want 30% of your company. The lounge's air conditioning was on full blast, but a thin layer of sweat broke out on Leo's forehead. Jake, what is this? It's nothing, I said, picking up my cup and blowing on the floating tea leaves. I just suddenly feel like our relationship needs a more solid guarantee. He stared at me for a long time. So, along the tea started to get cold. Finally, he gritted his teeth. Fine, we'll do it your way. After leaving the lounge, I didn't go home. I drove to the city's most reputable private investigation agency. I handed the man with the gold-rimmed glasses photos of Chloe and Leo, along with every piece of information I had. I need direct proof that they're having an affair, I said. Money is no object. The man pushed his glasses up his nose, a sharp glint in his eyes from behind the lenses. Rest assured, Mr. Hayes, we're professionals. For the next few days, I acted like a fool, deeply in love. I came home on time every day, brought Chloe her favorite cupcakes, and watched boring romantic comedies with her. She seemed to let her guard down, and her attitude toward me returned to its usual affection. Only I knew what a violent undercurrent was raging beneath the calm surface. The private investigator was efficient. On the third day, I received the first batch of photos. They were taken at a secluded Japanese restaurant. In a private booth, Leo and Chloe sat side by side. Leo was holding a piece of sushi up to Chloe's lips. She was tilting her head up, a sweet, blissful smile on her face. A smile I had only ever seen when we were first dating. There was also an audio recording. It was from the dash cam in my car. I had lent Leo my car that day to pick up a client from the airport. He'd said his was in the shop. Jake is such a fool. He's still completely in the dark, Leo's voice said. Keep your voice down. Chloe swatted his arm playfully. What if he finds out? So what if he does? We'll just come clean. You divorce him and be with me. I'll take care of you. Stop it. The sounds that followed were sickening kisses and heavy breathing. I gripped my phone, my knuckles turning white from the pressure. The day before our anniversary, I got a call from the investigator. Mr. Hayes, we've got the definitive proof. Would you like to come see it now? I rushed to the agency. The man handed me an envelope filled with a stack of photos. The background was the entrance to a no-tell motel. In the pictures, Leo had his arm wrapped around Chloe's waist as they laughed and walked inside. The timestamp was from yesterday afternoon. Chloe had told me she was going on a business trip to the next state over and would be back in 2 days. I stared at her smiling face in the photo, and my stomach turned over. The video? I asked, my voice hoarse. The man clicked open a folder on his computer. It was security footage from the motel hallway. Leo and Chloe were kissing, stumbling into a room together. The moment the door closed, I let out a long breath. I paid the remaining balance and walked out of the agency with the envelope, feeling like a ghost. When I got home, Chloe wasn't back yet. The house was empty, filled with traces of her. Her perfume on the vanity, her dresses in the closet, her shampoo in the shower. I used to think these were signs of a happy life. Now, they were like 1,000 tiny knives carving up my heart. I sat on the couch from day to night. I didn't move until my phone screen lit up with a text from Chloe. Hey, honey, I made it to the hotel. Things are a little crazy here. I might not be back until the day after tomorrow. We'll have to celebrate our anniversary late. Don't be mad, okay? It was followed by a little pouting emoji. I looked at the message and suddenly started to laugh. I replied, It's okay, work comes first. Take care of yourself. I love you too. On the morning of our anniversary, I woke up early. I cleaned the house until it was spotless. Then, I drove to the spa resort on Blackwood Mountain. I booked 2 rooms. One was the honeymoon suite under my name. The other was a standard king room, diagonally across the hall from the suite. I had a pinhole camera inside the smoke detector of the standard room, aimed directly at the bed. Once everything was set, I called Chloe. Hey, honey, where are you? I'm in a meeting. What's up, sweetie? She sounded flustered, and I could hear the faint sound of running water in the background. I have a surprise for you. Can you do a video call right now? What? Now? I can't. My boss is right here. Just for a minute. I promise. I insisted. The other end of the line was silent for a few seconds. Well, okay. Hold on. Soon, the video connected. Chloe appeared on the screen. She seemed to be in a hotel bathroom, wearing a bathrobe with her hair still wet. She forced a smile for the camera. What's the big, mysterious surprise? Guess where I am? I panned the phone around to show her the background behind me. It was the Blackwood Mountain Resort, the place we went on our first real date. Chloe's face turned deathly pale. What? What are you doing there? It's our 3rd anniversary. Where else would I be? I smiled warmly. I booked the same suite we stayed in before. I even got your favorite red wine and a bouquet of roses. The only thing missing now is the leading lady. I paused, looking into her panicked eyes, and asked, enunciating every word. Honey, when can you get here? I'm here, waiting for you. From her end of the call, a man's impatient voice cut in. Chloe, are you done yet? The water's getting cold. It was Leo. Chloe's body jerked, and in her panic, she abruptly ended the call. I stared at the dark screen, the smile on my face growing wider. I didn't call back. I just sat in the room and waited patiently. On the laptop in front of me, a live feed from the camera across the hall was playing. About half an hour later, Chloe and Leo appeared on the screen. They were wearing nothing but towels around their waists, their skin still damp. This is all your fault. Chloe shoved Leo. That was way too close. So what if he found out? Who cares? Leo said nonchalantly, pulling her into his arms. What's that spineless loser, Jake, going to do about it anyway? Don't say that. Chloe struggled for a moment. He's always been good to me. Good? What good is that? Can he satisfy you? Leo's hands started to wander. Look at you. The second you're with me, you go wild. Chloe stopped fighting. Soon, they were tumbling onto the bed. I watched the two entangled bodies on the screen with a blank expression, adjusted the camera angle for the best view, and hit record. Isin Leo text. Hey man, where are you? I'm up at Blackwood. Brought you that barbecue chicken you love. Come have a drink. A few minutes later, Leo replied. Can't, man. Stomach's killing me. Just laying low at home. You two have fun, and tell Chloe I said hi. I looked at his text, then back at the man on the screen, working tirelessly. I laughed. I put my phone aside and went to soak in a hot tub. The steam rose around me, the warm water enveloping my body. I closed my eyes and began to orchestrate a grand and glorious revenge. I stayed in the tub for a long time, until a staff member knocked on the door to remind me my dinner reservation was approaching. I returned to my room and changed. Then, I called Chloe's mother, my mother-in-law. Mom, are you and Dad home? We are. Jake, is everything okay? My mother-in-law's voice was as kind as ever. Well, today is mine and Chloe's 3rd anniversary, and I brought her up to Blackwood Mountain to celebrate. I was thinking you and Dad haven't had a getaway in a while, so I booked a room for you two as well. Why don't you come on up? I could drive down and get you. Oh, you're too sweet, dear, she said, delighted. Okay, come on by. Your father and I will get packed. After hanging up, I drove down the mountain. By the time I picked up my in-laws, it was nearly dark. On the way back, my mother-in-law couldn't stop praising me, saying I was a wonderful son-in-law and that Chloe was blessed to have married me. I just smiled, gripping the steering wheel, and said nothing. Back at the hotel, I led them directly to a private dining room. The table was already set with exquisite dishes and a large, heart-shaped cake in the center. Where's Chloe? Why are you by yourself? My mother-in-law asked. She's a little tired, resting in the room. She said we should start without her. I poured them some wine. Dad, Mom, this is to you. Thank you for giving me Chloe. The two of them beamed. We ate and chatted, and the atmosphere seemed warm and joyful. Halfway through the meal, I excused myself to go to the restroom. Once outside the private room, I took out my phone. I sent the video I had recorded that afternoon to Leo's father and to a local gossip blogger I'd already paid off. Then I dialed Chloe's number. Honey, Mom and Dad are here with me in the dining room. When are you coming? On the other end, Chloe's voice was thick with sleep. What? Mom and Dad? Why are they there? I invited them. I wanted to surprise them. I said gently. Hurry up and come down. The food's getting cold. I'll be right there, she said, hastily hanging up. I put my phone away, returned to the dining room, and continued drinking and laughing with my in-laws. About 20 minutes later, the door to the room was pushed open. Chloe and Leo stood in the doorway. Both were fully dressed, but they couldn't hide the panic on their faces. Mom, Dad, what are you doing here? Chloe forced a smile that was uglier than a grimace. Jake invited us, my mother-in-law said warmly, beckoning them over. Come sit down. We were just waiting for you. Leo's face was pale. He awkwardly greeted me. Jake, glad you could make it. I stood up and pulled out the two empty chairs next to me. Sit. We were waiting for you to start. Chloe and Leo reluctantly sat down. The meal was torture. My in-laws, still blissful, kept putting food on our plates and offering words of blessing. Chloe and Leo kept their heads down the entire time, not daring to say a word. And me, I acted as if I knew nothing, smiling and chatting with the elders. As dinner was winding down, everyone's phones in a room started buzzing uncontrollably. The gossip blogger had posted the video. The headline was pure clickbait. Shock video, Sterling Corp heir and married woman filmed in steamy hotel tryst. Even though their faces were blurred, anyone who knew them would recognize the man and woman in the video instantly. My mother-in-law was the first to open it. Her phone's volume was turned up high. Those familiar, sickening moans instantly filled the private dining room. What? What is this filth? Disgusting. Her face turned white with rage as she quickly shut it off. My father-in-law was frowning deeply. Chloe and Leo's faces were beyond pale. They were ashen. Jake, you must have gotten it too, right? They send this garbage everywhere these days, my mother-in-law complained. Yeah, I nodded. Then I looked at Chloe and Leo and asked innocently, who do you think the people in that video are? Chloe's body was shaking like a leaf. Leo grabbed my arm, his voice a low, furious hiss. Jake, did you do this? I ignored him. I just looked at my in-laws and said slowly, Dad, Mom, I actually invited you here today because there's something very important I want to clear up with Chloe in front of you. I paused, and under everyone's tense gaze, I pulled a stack of photos from my pocket and laid them out on the table one by one. I want to divorce Chloe. The photos and the word divorce landed like two massive bombs in the room. My in-laws' expressions went from shock to disbelief and finally to pure fury. What? What in the world is going on? My father-in-law yelled, pointing at the photos with a trembling hand. Chloe, you explain this to me right now. My mother-in-law slapped Chloe across the face. The sound was sharp and loud. Stunned, Chloe clutched her cheek, tears instantly streaming down her face. Mom, Don't you call me Mom. I don't have a shameless daughter like you. My mother-in-law was trembling with rage. Leo, panicking, tried to step forward and explain, but my father-in-law kicked him to the ground. You bastard. After Jake treated you like a brother. You would. The entire room erupted into chaos. I watched it all unfold, a strange calm settling over me. The pandemonium lasted for a long time, until the hotel manager arrived with security and managed to restore some semblance of order. My in-laws disowned Chloe on the spot, saying they never wanted to see her again. Then they took my hands, their eyes full of tears, and apologized profusely. Jake, our family has failed you. We failed to raise her right. I said a few words to comfort them and then drove them home. By the time I returned to the hotel, Chloe and Leo were gone. They must have fled in shame. I walked into the honeymoon suite they had trashed, sat on the couch, and lit a cigarette. Through the swirling smoke, I could almost see 3 years ago, the first night Chloe and I had spent here. Back then, her smile was radiant, and her eyes were only for me. Back then, I thought I had the whole world. I pulled out my phone and called the lawyer I'd already lined up. It's time to begin. The next morning, I woke up in the hotel bed. Everything from the night before felt like a nightmare, but the photos scattered on the floor were a stark reminder that it was all real. I picked up my phone to find it flooded with countless messages and missed calls. Leo's father, a man of considerable standing in the business world, had sent me over a dozen voice messages. They ranged from initial fury to desperate pleading, a pathetic transformation. Jake, you son of a bitch. Do you have any idea what you've done? That video is all over our circle now. Jake, let's talk, please. Leo is young and foolish. I apologize on his behalf. Jake, I'm begging you, take the video down. Our family's reputation can't survive a hit like this. I smirked and deleted all the messages. I opened Twitter. The blogger's post had shot to the top of the trending list. Even with the blurred faces, Leo, as the well-known heir to Sterling Corp, was easily identified. Hashtag Sterling Corp scandal, hashtag resort cheaters, hashtag adultery video, one trending topic after another, each one a dagger twisting in Leo and Chloe's hearts. My phone rang. It was my lawyer. Mr. Hayes, the divorce papers are ready. As per your instructions, we are demanding she leave the marriage with nothing and pay you $5 million in emotional damages. Good. Keep the pressure on, I said. I want her reputation destroyed. After the call, I got up, showered, and checked out. On the drive home, I got a call from Chloe. Jake, please, I'm begging you, take the video down. I was wrong, I know I was wrong, she sobbed, her voice hoarse. I'll cut off all contact with Leo. We can start over, can't we? I scoffed. Start over? Chloe, do you really think that's possible? I know I messed up, but we were married. Can't you just give me one more chance? She pleaded. A chance? My voice was ice. When you were betraying me, did you ever stop to think that we were married? The other end of the line went silent. Jake, what do you want? Her voice was suddenly cold. It's simple. Divorce. You get nothing, and you pay me $5 million in damages, I said, enunciating every word. Otherwise, I'll make sure you and Leo can never show your faces in this city again. You, she seethed. Jake, don't take this too far. Too far? I laughed. Chloe, you think this is too far? Then what do you call what you did to me? Silence again. Think it over and get back to me, I said, then hung up. When I got back to my apartment, I found the lock had been changed. I let out a cold laugh and dialed building management. Hi, this is Jake Hayes in 7B, apartment 1801. Someone changed my lock. I need someone to come open it. 10 minutes later, a maintenance worker arrived with his tools. Mr. Hayes, per regulations, I need to verify your identity. I showed him my ID and the deed to the apartment. After confirming everything was in order, he started to work on the lock. Just then, the elevator doors opened and Chloe stepped out. She looked exhausted and disheveled, her eyes red and swollen, her makeup smeared. Jake, what are you doing here? She asked, her voice hostile. This is my home. Why shouldn't I be here? I stared at her coldly. You, she gritted her teeth. You post our video online, you let the whole world curse my name, and now you have the nerve to come back here. I laughed. Chloe, let's be clear about who betrayed whom. The maintenance worker stood awkwardly to the side, unsure what to do. Mr. Hayes, Ms., if you have an issue, perhaps you could discuss it inside. Chloe snorted, pulled a key from her purse, and opened the door. I followed her in. The apartment was a mess. Her suitcases were open in the middle of the living room, clothes strewn everywhere. Packing to make a run for it? I taunted. None of your business, she glared at me. Let me tell you something, Jake. I'm not leaving with nothing. I own half of this apartment. I walked over to the sofa, sat down, and pulled a document from my pocket, tossing it on the coffee table. The prenup. Did you forget? This apartment is my premarital asset. You have no claim to it. The color drained from Chloe's face. Impossible. I never signed any prenup. I smirked, took out my phone, and played a recording. Chloe, have a look at this prenuptial agreement. It's mainly to protect our individual assets from before the marriage. Okay, whatever you say. In the recording, Chloe's voice was agreeable, followed by the rustle of paper and the scratching of a pen. After listening, Chloe was dumbfounded. That's impossible. I don't remember this. 3 years ago, the day before our wedding, you were drunk, and I had you sign it, I said calmly. You were so wasted you forgot about it the next day. But legally, this agreement is binding. Chloe's face went from white to green, then to red. Jake, you're despicable. Despicable. I laughed. Compared to you sleeping with my best friend behind my back, my little tricks are nothing. My words left Chloe speechless. Right now, you have two choices. I stood up, looking down on her. Either you agree to my terms for the divorce, or we take this to court, and I'll make sure everyone knows every last sordid detail about you and Leo. Chloe bit her lip, silent tears rolling down her cheeks. I'll give you 3 days to think about it. I turned and walked toward the bedroom. Oh, and by the way, I'm staying here tonight. You can figure out your own arrangements. That night, lying in the guest room bed, I could hear her sobbing in the master bedroom. I felt nothing. My phone rang. It was Leo. Jake, we need to talk. I answered but said nothing. Brother, I know I screwed up, Leo pleaded. But what you're doing isn't helping anyone. That video is everywhere. My dad's company stock has dropped 30%. My mom is in the hospital from a shock. Not my problem, I said coldly. Jake, what the hell do you want? What do I want? I laughed. Leo, do you remember the first time we met? Silence on the other end. High school. A couple of bullies had you cornered in the bathroom. I was the one who ran in and saved you. I continued. College. You were about to flunk out, and I stayed up all night tutoring you. When you started your business, you needed money, and I gave you every cent my father left me. I know all that. I'm sorry, Leo's voice cracked. But Jake, we've been brothers for 10 years. Brothers? I sneered. Leo, are you even worthy of that word? Silence again. I'll give you 2 options, I said. Either you transfer 30% of your company's shares to me, and I'll consider taking the video down. Or we burn everything to the ground together and see who's left standing at the end. 30%. Leo's voice was filled with shock. Jake, are you insane? That's my family's life's work. Then forget it, I said flatly. Tomorrow, I'll be sending the full, unedited video to every single one of your company's shareholders and business partners. Wait, Leo panicked. Jake, give me some time. I need to talk to my dad. You have 24 hours, I said, and hung up. When I woke up the next day, Chloe was gone. She had left a note on the dining table. Jake, I agree to your terms. Divorce, I get nothing, and I'll pay you the $5 million. But please take the video down. I crumpled the note and threw in the trash. I opened my phone and saw that Leo had sent me a share transfer agreement. Jake, I agree to your terms. 30% of the shares. My lawyer has already prepared the agreement. But you have to promise to take down all the videos and never bring this up again. I let out a cold laugh and replied, I've reviewed the agreement. It's fine. See you at the notary's office at 3 p.m. That morning, I went to my lawyer's office and signed the divorce papers. Chloe wasn't there. She had sent her attorney in her place. Mr. Hayes, Ms. Vance has agreed to all of your terms, the lawyer said, handing me a document. This is her official statement, admitting to infidelity during the marriage, voluntarily forfeiting all marital assets, and agreeing to pay you $5 million in emotional damages. I took the document, glanced over it, and signed my name. Congratulations, Mr. Hayes. As of now, you are a single man, the lawyer said with a smile. I didn't respond. I just turned and left. At 3 o'clock that afternoon, I arrived at the notary's office. Leo and his father were already there waiting. The elder Mr. Sterling looked like he had aged 10 years. His eyes were bloodshot. When he saw me, he managed to force a smile. Jake, you're here. I nodded but said nothing. Leo kept his head down, refusing to look at me. The notary presented the share transfer agreement, and the three of us signed in succession. It's done. As of this moment, Mr. Hayes owns 30% of Sterling Corp., making him the second largest shareholder, the notary announced. Mr. Sterling let out a long sigh and looked at me. Jake, are you satisfied now? I looked at him and said calmly, Sir, this is just the beginning. The color drained from his face. What do you mean? From this day forward, I will be involved in all company decisions, I said coldly. If I find any irregularities, I won't hesitate to report them. Mr. Sterling looked even paler. Jake, are you trying to ruin us? No, sir. I'm just exercising my rights as a shareholder, I said with a thin smile. After all, this is what I got in exchange for 10 years of friendship and 3 years of marriage. Leo finally snapped. He shot up from his chair and pointed a finger at my face. Jake, that's enough. We did everything you asked. What more do you want? I looked at him, my eyes like ice. Leo, do you really think the price for your betrayal is just 30% of a company? Leo's face turned ghostly white. From now on, I will make sure you and your father live in fear every single day, I said, my voice low and steady. Because you will never know what I'm going to do next. With that, I turned and walked out, leaving the two of them staring after me in abject terror. 1 month later, I moved into a new villa. After the divorce, I sold the old apartment to make a fresh start. The stock price of Sterling Corp., after I became the second largest shareholder, had stabilized and was slowly climbing back up. I attended several board meetings, made a few sound proposals, and won the respect of the other shareholders. The way Mr. Sterling looked at me had shifted from animosity to something far more complex. As for Leo, he avoided me at all costs. Whenever he saw me, he looked like a mouse that had seen a cat. I heard that Chloe left the city and moved somewhere down south. Before she left, she sent me one last text message. I'm sorry. I don't expect you to forgive me, but I hope you can let go of the past and start over. I deleted the message and blocked her number. Forgiveness? You don't deserve it.